How the heck are you, everybody? I'm Fastidious. Welcome to my channel and welcome to this week's edition of Should You Summon? This is a weekly video in which I answer the question, should you summon on that weekend's banner or banners? This one being the special Ancient Summoning first ever Ancients 15X on two amazing heroes, Aracha and Sargak. As always, I will answer this question for all spending groups, those being free to play, low spender, mid spender, dolphin, and whale. As for you Krakens, of course you're doing it. So thank you for supporting the game. Good luck. Hope you get 10 copies of each. Then I will also address the question, or I'll wrinkle it in, tie it into all my explanations of should you summon depending on where you are in the game. Are you early game, mid game, late game, or end game? Let's get into it because this is a really good one. A lot of people need a Piercer Lord. It ain't going to get better than this, at least not yet, because Iovar is not in the game. Maybe some more theory crafting from yours truly on when that might happen. And Sargak, man, I mean, he has had such a buff. It was another one that kind of snuck in under the radar. He's a tremendous hero. So, without further ado, let's get into it.
Fastidious.
Fastidious.
First off, I just wanted to clear something off with this artwork provided by Rokanchi on Discord that I shared in my video yesterday. So I said that this artwork came from the global server, that game file. I was actually incorrect. He was getting information as well from Forerunner. That is where this artwork right here came from. So encouraging, but also discouraging if you were hoping the banner was going to come really soon. Almost assuredly, this banner or a banner just like it will come to global. But if it's not yet on the global server, there's no reason to think it's coming anytime soon. It easily could be 2, 3, 4 months, something like that. I do posit it will be about 3 months. It's currently April 11th. If you guys don't know, the 1-year anniversary is July 14th. So that's about exactly 3 months. It's 3 months and 3 days. If you can hold out for like 93, 94 days, I think there's a pretty good chance we're going to get one, if not multiple, Ancient Lord rate-up banners to choose from. That could be a really exciting time. I will say something extra encouraging is on the game file. I've confirmed this myself through Pink Jesus and some other sources. All of Iovar's skills and his assets and stuff are on global. They're already there. They're obviously not live yet, but they're there. So I do think he's going to be added within a month. You know, almost assuredly. With the 10x, or now it looks like 15x, with Carnelian, I don't think so. I think that will be much more like 2 months minimum, maybe 3 or 4 months. So you're going to have to be in it for the long haul if you need a Piercer Lord, but you want to skip Aracha in anticipation of Iovar. Alrighty guys, here we are on my website. If you made it this far, we're a couple minutes into the video, I would like to formally announce the website will be coming out Saturday afternoon Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. So that's going to be 10 p.m. Central European Time. That is going to be 9 p.m. in the UK. That's going to be 1 p.m. on the West Coast of the United States. The rest of you guys figure it out. That's where all the demographics are watching from. But very exciting news. I know I said Friday. We're kind of on track already for tomorrow. But just to play it safe, I want to formally just postpone one more day, if you guys can wait, for Saturday afternoon. However, progress is being made every day. We've got like 20 beta testers in there all the time. We're finding all these little things, and we're making big strides with a lot of things we already were actively working on. For example, this Lord filter button was not working. Look at that. It's working now. What a great way to get to Aracha. So there she is. Let's click on her. Still working on these page load times. We have a couple other things. I'll just point out problems as I see them, right? Attack range, it needs to be ATK. I'm going to fix that right after I film. I just realized I could crop this display window way prettier and really show the website in all its glory. But yeah, there's little things we're always working on, like typos, little grammar things, and then bigger things like the Lord filtering, right? And like, you know, if the tier lists, you can actually scroll and see the button. We just added that, so huge shout out to our developer Swavek. There's a little bug we still haven't gotten to the bottom of. Why do the feet show on some heroes and not other ones? I know for some people they might be into that. I am not. I want this to look nice and clean. But we're making tons of progress. As of yesterday, Artia was showing up as just chaos on next hero, previous hero. Now you can see dual faction is working. So website, I'm completely comfortable. Big thank you to all the alpha testers, all the beta testers, and my whole team. I'm going to have a whole like unmonetized video where I thank absolutely everybody because I'm just so happy with the progress we've made. This has been a tremendous endeavor. Let's break these heroes down. That's what really matters. So Aracha, you can see a beautiful write-up here from the one and only Pink Jesus. He loves the word whilst. We might have to address this because it is everywhere in all the descriptions. Whilst only being a good ranged fighter, Aracha's Lord skill, see, we're missing an apostrophe, guys. We're working out the kinks. Aracha's Lord skill can make Piercer teams obscene, and that is true. Her own damage is hampered by her limited base attack. With Spider Toxin and her AoE poison, she can still do some very nice things. She may not be the best fighter, but if you're running any Piercer Lord, see, look, typo. We got it. We got this, guys. We got this, guys. If you're running any Piercers, she should probably be on your team. So yeah, she's the best we got in the game. It's not even close. Here are her tier ratings, guys. So you can see we gave her an S overall. She has a slight knock because, quite frankly, as a hero that you're going to deploy and use for her abilities that are not Lord related, she's not that great. I'll get into that when we do skills in 1 second. But as a Lord, she's as good as it gets. S+ for Guild Boss. I mean, she's on so many of those top teams, those Piercer teams featuring Silas and Hex. Maybe got an A5 Calypso in the mix. Amazing stuff. GR3, her and Idril break the whole thing in half. I have a video just basically on them soloing 321. It's a joke. Voidrift, I think she's like the best Lord choice in the game. Piercers are the best heroes in the game, in my opinion, for Voidrift. Silas and Hex are kind of unmatched. Give them Aracha for that extended range and, of course, that huge damage boost. Très Magnifique, oh la la. Campaign, solid, why not? Faction Trials, every single Lord's going to get an S+. I'm just highlighting the good ratings here. Styx, viable, not too special. Guild Wars, outrageously good. She's really become like this side meta, really awesome stuff. Anti-Air Arena, enough said. Anti-Air Lord Queen. Is she going to be outclassed by Iovar for a lot of things? Quite frankly, yes. I really do think so. I think only Idril will pair better with her with the heroes we have in the game right now. Iovar is also just going to be a straight-up better hero in general, not even speaking of the Lord skill. That is not to discourage you. She is cracked beyond belief. Very quickly, I will take you through skills and awakenings, and then we'll move on to Sargak. I think Aracha is pretty clear. You already have a good impression when I break it down in the spender groups and the progression in the game groups. It's going to be really clear. It's really a binary. Do you need a Piercer Lord? Can you afford to wait? Can you not? That's kind of it. Afford being progression-wise, not cash-wise. Maybe cash too. Depends on the kind of player you are. Let's go to skills now. You can see her talent. When Aracha attacks unblocked targets, increases damage by 20% and crit rate by 10%. So kind of the opposite of Sealatu. Sealatu, you want her doing the blocking. Aracha, you're going to want to hide her behind another tanky fighter or a tank or a defender, right? Let's go to her Lord skill, Piercer Vision 3. We still got to get these Lord skill images in, guys. Increase faction allies' basic attributes by 15%. Faction allies' attack ranges, there, we did attack right there, are also increased. For every 1 tile away from the target, increases their damage by 5% up to 50%. Only Idril can ever get this, max 10 tiles away bonus, but many heroes will get 4, so just like a permanent 20% boost. For your long-range fighters, it's going to be 5 tiles, so 25% boost. In a lot of content, if you're good and your heroes are built well, you're killing everybody before they get any closer, so you're getting full max benefit from that. She's amazing. Her ultimate now, Spider's Stance. The hero evolves, increasing damage by 40% and hitting 1 more target for 20 seconds. So normally, she hits 1 target. Now she's hitting 2. It's solid. You can get the skill cost down a nice chunk. You can get it to, I'm going to have to add toggles. That's very much going to be, I think, V3. But we can get this down to 800 costs. You can get the duration nice and high at 30 seconds. You can get the damage up, but you can get another 10% damage from level 3 and level 5. So we can get her to 60% damage increase. It's solid. I've never really seen her put out some proper damage, but she's not like useless the way some people want to make it seem. Then she's got Spider Toxin. This is her passive. Attacks inflict Spider Toxin to the target, dealing 10% magic damage per second for 3 seconds. It's very similar to Burn. The 3-second duration really kind of stinks, though. When a target dies under Spider Toxin, this is an RNG element, because the only way she's about to put out poisons is if targets are wearing Spider Toxin in that 3-second window, assuming no awakenings. Then they're going to get this AoE Poison Explosion, which deals 20% AoE damage to surrounding enemies and inflicts a 5-second poison. It's solid. It's not special. You can't really even view her as a poison hero, because a lot of stuff with bosses, you can't really be controlling units dying. She's actually underrated for Gear Aid 3, killing the mobs that spawn in front of the boss, the succubus boss. You can get decent poison uptime. I've done it a lot in takeovers, but all in all, that's kind of the only place she's ever really going to shine as a poisoner. It's a bummer. I think her kit's slightly a bummer, but she's such a good Lord, it's okay. Messy Web. For every 6 attacks, the next attack will ensnare the target in spiderwebs for 1 second. This is just like Immobilize. It's her special version of that. If the target is airborne, the duration of the webbing effect is extended to 2 seconds. You can see you can get the required attacks down to only 4 seconds. When you do that, she becomes really good for GVG, right? Now you have a whole crowd control element on top of her being a decent unit and a tremendous Lord. Spiderwebs on the targets will increase for a second, so 2 seconds as the base in general, but then the airborne bonus on level 4 is another second. So now if you have it fully skilled up, 2 seconds on normal targets, 3 seconds on airborne targets, 3 seconds on airborne targets. Like if you're sending the legendary flyers in Guild Wars and GVG, that's pretty darn sweet. The kit works. It's not too special, but when it comes to the OG lords, their actual heroes' abilities, not their lord abilities, are only so special. Let's very quickly do Awakenings and let's move on to Sargak. You can see we just added the Roman numerals here. Things are they're getting good, man. There's a lot of things where I'm like, ooh, we need to work on that. And then a lot of things where I'm being like, dang, this website's fresh as hell. So you can see Awaken level 1, when in Spider Stance, increases all damage by 20%. That's during her ultimate. So then she becomes more viable as an actual hero, dealing damage. Her A2 is what's going to matter the most, really just for Void Rift, but basically just if you get it early on, currently for Gear Aid 3. When we do get the Furious Torrent, the Poseidon Pelagios, Immortal Codex boss, this is going to be a huge one. Plus 300 attack, that's just for her, but then she gets that Legendary Lord thing where faction allies damage to airborne units. It's a global boost to all her faction, 5% more to airborne units. Great for GR3, incredible for the Pelagios boss, the Furious Torrent. That should be coming the next rotation. A3, this one's pretty solid, increases the duration of Spider Toxin and Poison by 2 seconds. Her Spider Toxin will now last 5 seconds, her Poison will last 7. That's a big difference. Rage regen based off of attack, plus 2. She'll get to ult a lot more. And then at A5, when an enemy with Spider Toxin dies, deal 110% AoE damage to nearby enemies. More typos, affected by poison 1 more time. So an extra blast of AoE, right? So you can skill that up with Spider Toxin, with the explosions, that you get the AoE damage. It was only 20%. Now it's much bigger. It's going to be 110%. You can see actually here it goes up to 25%, but a whole extra 110%. Pretty sweet. Go get her A5, I guess. Then she'll be viable. Otherwise, really just use her as a lord, and a tremendous lord at that. All right, on to Sargak. Okay, so Sargak time. Let's go back to our hero list here. And let's try the faction sorting. So let's go to Star Piercers. Here we go. And Mr. Sargak, going to get that alphabetical down in the S section. I really think these hero cards are looking great. Dolores and I worked on those for so long. So here you go. This is going to be Sargak. And yeah, let's see. He's no feat. That's pretty great. Let's see if we go to the tier listing. No, he's got tons of feat that we got to get through. But let's start with these tier rankings. We put him at a very solid S. Where he shines, he absolutely shines, but it's limited to, mostly specific single target, but then also piercer content where you need that piercing damage. So overall in Guild Boss, very good. Maybe I could see this going up to an S if there was more of a chaos meta. As for a piercer, he's not going to be on the level at all of like a Hex and a Silas, but he would be the next one in line, or maybe him in like an A5 Calypso. You can see major distortion going over here with the images. We got 2 days, baby. We got 2 days. Then for moving on to just focusing again on the good grades, I'll just say Gear Aid 2, he's still viable. He shoots like a god-dang machine gun. I'll explain all of that when we get into the skills, but he can kind of AoE his way through it by putting out crazy damage and taking them out with such speed that they're gone before you know it. Gear Aid 3, excellent stuff. Obviously, after Silas, he is the next best option. It's not even close. We're giving him a straight A+, because he's just tremendously strong. He's nearly as good as Silas for this, and if you don't have Virna, he's the best in the game. He's better than Silas, in my opinion. You go now, you move it along. AMR, you could use him the way you'd use a Silas, to nuke down, but he's just not as good. You really need to be hitting all those blood spears. We'll get into that. But it is a viable option if you don't have Silas. For Void Rift, tremendous. Borderline S+, I would say. If you're a big Sargak user and abuser, you let me know. I think certainly if you have Aracha, I think decided S+ for your account for Void Rift, I think he would be just as good as the other guys. Maybe one tiny notch below Silas, but keep in mind we're comparing him to Virna bonded Silas, which is as good as it gets in this game. Campaign, viable, doesn't really matter. We gave him a not because Chaos, you don't really care. I guess it could be higher, but there's so many good single target, not super hard to get options. Maybe this is an A though. Faction Trial, no-brainer, cracked out, and that's just for Piercer. If they add Chaos, he'll be probably required if they have anything close to anti-air involved there. Styx, borderline S, extremely good. He hits he is S. This is something I'm going to go change right now. Definitely S and Styx. I'm always updating this, guys, and we'll do it at the end of every month or whenever there's a big update or something. We're always going to be updating the tier list ratings. Definitely an S here. Definitely an S. Arbiter, if we go now, with those bleeds and with how frequently he hits, he's very good. Solid S. Guild Wars, he is cracked out. Anyone that has had to deal with him there, S+. Single target arena, we gave him a very solid S. can maybe make a case for S+, but I don't think he truly shines. Where he does truly shine, and he's probably the best unit in the game, is going to be Anti-Air Arena. At least as good as Bonded Silas. He is so good here. He hits so hard, and he hits so fast, and he's got an Arena Mastery bonus thing, and he pairs so well with all those Chaos teams. So good. Like, you will see people running Gon or Vladov, or I guess now Valderon, as a lord over Aracha or Lunaria for this, to pair them with Sargak, over, you know, pairing Silas with the Piercer, or really pairing Silas and Sargak, when a lot of people do it. It's that powerful, pairing him with a Chaos unit. Crazy stuff. He's also going to be extremely good for the Furious Torrent, the new anti-air Codex boss. Let's go to skills now. Well, here's something in real time, guys. So he was buffed in the most recent update, or the second most recent update. We already had the skills from then. I wanted to compare him to him pre-buff, and here you kind of got it. The biggest change, there were a lot of changes, but really was the talent, and actually we need to update this immediately. So that will be the first thing I do when I stop filming this video. Each attack launched has a 10% chance to trigger Blood Spear. That is no longer the case. Blood Spear is so vital to his kit. Now it is all the way up here to a mighty 25% chance, and that is so much bigger, and he gets crazy uptime in many instances of this hitting, of this occurring, because he hits so fast, which we'll get into. Now it's up from 10% to 25%. You know, it's 150% more common. That is huge. Each chance to trigger Blood Spear, inflicting bleed on the target. If we click on bleed over here, it's going to last for 5 seconds. Typical bleed, really nice dot damage, and increasing physical damage taken by whatever enemy is wearing that damage over time debuff. If the target's already inflicted with bleed, this is where he gets to like Silas territory, and he's so crazy. He's going to ignore, or the Blood Spears are going to ignore 50% of their defense. 50% of their defense. I mean, that's what makes Silas so powerful, right? Who cares about attack thresholds when you just ignore half the defense the enemy's wearing already? He's got this built into his kit now as well. Let's just finish the banner breakdown in the game. I think I gave you guys enough of a taste of all the good and all the currently not so good. We've got the basic attack here, deals 100% damage to one enemy, prioritizing airborne units. This goes up to 120%. The ultimate, Bloodshed Fury. When triggered, reduces 10% of current HP. Very chaos faction of him, reduces defense by 30% and increases attack by 35%. This goes up to 45%, and then this thing can last for 20 seconds at max skill ups. Additionally, each basic attack lands 2 consecutive strikes, and they still count as basic attacks, so the attack speed will affect that attack interval. Lovely, synergizes really well with like an Infernal Roar set. Skill cost can go down to 900, and now you can really see he's getting double hitters with already a really low base attack interval, that single target marksman 2.0, and he's got specialized attack speed built into his kit. So if we go over here to Bellicosity, I think Bellicose is like warring, so this is his war mentality or something. Increases attack speed by 6 for every 1% HP lost. That's kind of nuts. If he's in that minus 70% range that you want to be, that's another 420 attack speed, right? You can max out at 1200, that's the max attack speed in this game, and he's got, in effect, specialized attack speed, where he benefits more marginally from 1 extra attack speed and how much it lowers his attack interval, his attack speed, right? The frequency he's putting out attacks, than it would a normal hero that doesn't have specialized attack speed. Think of someone like Falcia, someone like Voroth, champions like that, right? Helga, when she comes. That's way better, and the potency is going to improve as the HP gets lower. So you want him to have low HP. He's very a chaosy kind of guy. That attack speed increase can increase by another 4 per 1% HP loss, so it's 10 per 1% HP loss. So again, if he's lost 99% HP, if he's holding on, you pair him with Carnelian, right? She's Carnelian's so good, she prevents these chaos units from actually dying. He's basically in that unyielding state. He's got 99% HP loss. That's another 990 attack speed if you can maintain that condition. He's basically maxing out at that 1200. He's going to be hitting like every 0.3 seconds or something. When he's ulting, it's going to be double hitters. I mean, it's outrageous. He's a freaking machine gun, guys. He's crazy. And think of all the moments he'll have, all the opportunities he'll have to hit with Blood Spears, getting big damage, ignoring defense, inflicting bleed, all the lovely things you kind of need. Moving on now to Feral Force. When the target's HP is below 40%, now not his HP, but the target's HP, increases the hero's damage by 10%. You can get this increase up to 20%, and you can get the threshold at 50% or lower, so if they're less than half health. If the target's already inflicted with bleed, Blood Spear will inflict Immobilize, so some crazy crowd control, right? So this is going to be, they cannot move at all. It's basically like a stun, but they're just, immobilized for 2 seconds, and it can be triggered up to 1 time every 5 seconds. So 2 seconds can happen every 5 seconds. You wish there was no condition on it, but hey, I mean, maybe it'd be completely broken otherwise. And then finally, I said he did have an arena mastery, arena damage increase. This, all these chaos and arbiter guys have some special thing in the arena, increases damage in the arena by 15%. So he's just nutty for the arena. He's a fantastic hero. They've really given him a glow up. I guess I can take screenshots before I change it, so we know what it was pre-buff. The big thing really is the chance to launch a Blood Spear up from 10% to 25 is really night and day. 1 in 10 versus 1 in 4, that's tremendous. Let's go now to Awakening. His Awakening level 1. During the effect of Bloodshed Fury, this is going to be his manual ultimate over here. If the hero's HP is below 50%, additionally increases attack by 10%, reduces defense by minus 10%. So instead of at max, attack being 45, now it's going to be 55. Instead of being the defense penalty 30, it's only going to be 20. Harder to kill, making it easier for him to kill things. A nice combination. Plus 300 attack at A2. I actually did want to show you guys his base attack. It's okay. It's not too special. For a single target marksman, it's actually quite good at over 3,800. I mean, compare this to some of the... Let me actually go into the gallery. I know the video is getting a little long in the tooth now, but I think it's worth it. If we compare him to... I think Calypso is actually a great source of comparison. So about 150 more than the Calypso, 160 more. But then let's compare him to some of the epics where they're in the basement. I mean, that's crazy. 2862 versus 3860, whatever. I mean, kind of huge. We can just keep hanging out with him over here while we are here. But that's going to be really nice. I will also say Aracha has about 4,700 base attack. I should have showed that before. It's solid. It's not crazy for a fighter, especially when all her Spider Toxin and all of her poisons are scaling off of her attack. With poisons post nerf, it's a bummer with Aracha with her kit. Blood Spear deals 50% increased damage to elites and bosses. That is outrageous. So then he becomes extremely guild boss viable. He's gonna be amazing for focusing damage on the Furious Torrent boss. Amazing for Void Rift bosses. Once you get him A3, he is a goated S+, decided S+ unit. A4, crit rate plus 8%, very standard. And then A5, when any unit, including allies and enemies in range, die, any units die or any unit dies, increases attack by 1%. The attack will be increased by an extra 1% if the unit is killed by the hero. The increase is capped at 20%. So this builds over the course of the battle. Ideally, you don't want your allies dying. Pretty nice if the enemies are dying. It's pretty good. I think this A3 is the nuttiest. I mean, just a 1.5x multiplier against the hardest to kill units, elites and bosses. It's very clutch. All in all, I think Sargak is tremendous, but I think for a lot of us, he is a luxury item. So let's conclude now with the question, should you summon? Sargak could be a pretty solid carry early mid-game. Not incredible, though, because to truly unlock him, you're going to need a Lord, at the very least a Lunaria, maybe an Aracha, or really crazy potential, you're going to want a Chaotic Lord. So if you were a newer player, and you probably are if you're in the early mid-game, you might not have Vladov. Certainly unlikely that you have Valderon or Gon. I don't think he's going to be that huge. I don't think he's someone worth breaking the bank for. He's very much like an endgame luxury. You can see he's focused on things like endgame arena, GVG, Void Rift, Codex bosses that have not even arrived yet, that are already so overtuned that no one on Forerunner has even gotten a triple S. That's the kind of hero we're talking about, so I don't think that's the reason to pull. I do think Pierce Lords are really overrated. I think they're amazing. I think they make the game a lot better. I think a lot of people get in their head they absolutely need Pierce Lords to beat Gear Aid 3. Literally, in the past 2 days, I've done 2 different takeovers where I did it for people 20 and 21 on 2 different accounts, not using Aracha or Lunaria. Sure, they had other heroes. The gear was pretty good, but that's how the game goes. You have to find other workarounds. I do think it's awesome, but I think for so much content, honestly, and this is my take, Lunaria is good enough. It's really about extending that range. The boost from Aracha is so much better. The tiles away and the damage boost that she gives, so much better than Lunaria. And I will say, if you're early mid-game and you want the game to be easy, you're going to get an Idril eventually. She's one of the most common epics in the game. She's in the most common epic marksman bucket. Pair those two together, they'll carry you to the promised land. But if you're not just trying to hack your way through it, and maybe a lot of us are, I don't know, there's no enormous benefit. Can she be heavily featured in late and end game guild boss? Absolutely. If I got her, would my guild boss blood go up 5 or 6k? Yeah, but I mean that's luxurious. I honestly think, as I've dove in deeper into this banner, the way it's going to break down is strictly along spending. If you do not have a Piercer Lord, the way you go get a Piercer Lord is not gambling on an Aracha banner, it's just pulling Ancients in general. If you're that desperate for Lunaria, you don't need me to tell you that you should summon on Ancients. You should be summoning irregardless of the heroes on it. You know, maybe you want to find a good opportunity that you don't want to pull in a banner with like heroes like Giselle that you don't want. That's fair. If you've assessed you like Sargak and Aracha, I think most people should, then I say go for it. And you're basically hoping for Lunaria, and anything else is gravy, right? Aracha would just be a huge, huge bonus. But I do view both these heroes kind of as luxury item heroes. If you're in the later portion of the game, right, late game or certainly end game, then these are heroes you can totally go for. Totally go for. So that's kind of how I see it in terms of progression. For spending, if you're a free-to-play player, I do not think you can go for these heroes. I really don't. I do not see Aracha as I've been on I've been on probably 1,000 accounts. I've done over 300 paid takeovers. I've been on all these accounts. There's a million solutions without Aracha. She's really, really nice, but if you're free to play, this is not the banner to go for when we've seen images of Praetus, of Iovar, of Soul Cadence, stuff like that. If you're a low spender, I think that basically holds true the same way. Now, not talking about game progression, we just broke that down. Now just focusing on the wallet. If you're mid or higher, then yeah, Aracha's pretty dang sweet. You might have a little bit of buyer's remorse if you go insanely hard on this banner, because I do think Iovar is just strictly going to outclass her in a lot of things. I guess Aracha might end up being better in GVG because those spiderweb things, they're pretty sweet. The stun you get out of her messy web, that's quite nice. All in all, I do think if you're a huge spender, you should go for it, but you probably already have her. I think Sargak is someone you could really go deep on. I mean, he is exceptionally meta for a lot of the PvP elements in this game. Heavily used on these Aracha teams for Guild v Guild. And if we go to Arena, I showed this in yesterday's video, but I guess we'll conclude here. We can wrap it up and we can go to the rankings. And I'll just show you, basically everyone's using him, right? If they got him, they're using him. Here they're pairing him with Gon instead of Aracha, in spite of having Silas as well. I think Mad Bobby had the All Arbiters team. Congrats. Over here, back to Sargak. You get the drill. He's exceptionally strong. So my final conclusion, and I'm going to make this really clear because I know there's been a lot to cover, and I made a big website announcement. I think this is a great banner. It's the best one we've had in a while. I think they've done a tremendous job of making us scared to summon on these ancient summoning banners because we know crazier and crazier things may be coming. Quite frankly, you can get Aracha from normal summons. You cannot get these super rare, ancient, exclusive Legendary Lords that in so much content strictly outclass their normal Legendary Lord counterparts, right? I just got Twin Fiend. He's awesome. He makes me really happy. However, I got him from an ancient summoning, and it is slightly bittersweet because it would be really great to get Soul Cadence or someone that feels slightly more special. That is not to be disappointed, but no question, I think if you're deeper into the game, you are targeting not normal heroes. Sargak could be a reason, especially for big spenders and late and end game players. That could be a big reason to go for it. With the other things we're knowing, if you can be patient, I encourage you to be patient. If you're a big spender, there's no reason to ever be patient. I'm talking Dolphin, Whale, and Kraken. Otherwise, you know what to do. Make the determination. If you need a Piercer Lord, then you should be pulling. Not really for Aracha, that's a huge bonus, but because it's an ancient summoning and this is a great chance to get Lunaria. I've summoned like 7 or 8 Lunaria from ancient summonings in like the 220 ancient summons I've ever done in my life, right? They're gonna drop. The epics have an 8% chance for epic lords to drop. There's 8 of them, but you get lucky, you hit Lunaria, that's huge for you, right? I think that's the real estimation. If you feel like you need a Piercer Lord, and quite frankly, everyone will need one when the Furious Torrent comes at the very least, then this is a great time to be pulling. I do not think you can afford to be sitting around waiting for Iovar to come. If you think you can, and if you're a patient guy, gal, or person, then do it. I really hope I answered your question. This video took me so long, so if you like it, get in the comments, subscribe, share it with your mother. I've been Fastidious, and I'll see you real soon.
Fastidious.